So there's this rift within the Republican Party currently. And I think that rift consists of the Ron DeSantis camp of like institutionalist Republicans who just like don't want to rock the boat and keep want to undermining like social safety nets and you know do deregulation and stuff, but like not have it get too far out of hand, so much so that like liberals actually react to it and are forced into action. You know what I mean? Because they're like really angry.
Yeah.
And they believe that Ron DeSantis will be that guy to give them like a little bit, just enough culture war issues, but still maintain a delicate balance where they're able to like effectively legislate. And I think Ron DeSantis, unlike Donald Trump, is a party guy. He is a political machine guy. Whereas Donald Trump can sometimes say insane stuff from the bully pulpit and is somewhat uncontrollable because he is mostly just fueled by his narcissistic desires, self-preservation, and the like. So he'll throw like Republicans under the bus in a way that Ron DeSantis never would.
Right.
So that's why there's this rift now. And because there's this rift, CPAC was not as well attended. Did you see the video of the Trump speech at CPAC? The auditorium was not even full. It wasn't full.
I think we must have that in here. I've got some highlights. But yeah, I mean that gap between DeSantis and Trump is going to makes this all so fun to watch this coming primary. But there were some really incredible things. And the point I say is CPAC really does represent, I think, popular opinions within the conservative Republican Party. And so when they have someone who, like Michael Knowles, who is, I want to put this in terms that is actually accurate. He is a genocidal freak. He is like a actual genocidal fucking
not only is he a
psychotic
gremlin,
freak.
not only is he a gremlin and a lapdog of this Jeremy Boring guy, but he also is like trying to do his own like Matt Walsh shit. Like this is him biting Matt Walsh's aesthetic of like you know, wanting to eradicate trans people. You know what I mean?
Well, so here's a speech that he delivered on the floor of CPAC, the most popular Republican, you know, coming of great minds. Check this out.
There can be no
trigger warning, genocide.
Yeah.
Middle way in dealing with transgenderism. It is all or nothing. If transgenderism is true, if men really can become women, then it's true for everybody of all ages. If transgenderism is false, as it is, if men really can't become women, as they cannot, then it's false for everybody too. And if it's false, then we should not indulge it, especially since that indulgence requires taking away the rights and customs.
He's so self-assured. He thinks he's spitting.
If it is false.
He's such a fucking
Look at his
freak.
face. He's like, I'm killing it right now. I'm killing the speech.
Totally.
Attention-starved
requires
freak.
taking away the rights and customs of so many people.
How the fuck do trans people take away the rights and customs? Like, that's even a stretch. Like, I don't even know what.
Well, they can't make a real argument about anything, so they just have to make shit up. The idea is always the same. It's like the existence of black people in white spaces somehow takes away from white people's rights and privileges when that's not the case, right? Same with gay people, same with trans people.
Trans people are absorbing our rights, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, the red pill guys do a similar thing when they talk about like women in the workplace, taking away the rights and liberties of men because women and men should not.
Well, no, but at least like there's some coherent argument in that, like, oh, they're replacing men because you have one employment spot. It could be a man or a woman. The trans thing, I don't get. What is he implying? Good women are marrying trans, and I just don't get what's being replaced.
What's being replaced is, I mean, it's the same argument that Nazis used, also directly against trans people as well. Fun fact. That's what a lot of people miss. Yeah, that like Nazis weren't exactly too fond of trans people either. The first famous book burning that everybody knows about was actually a trans medical research that they burned. It was the first famous like documented book burning that the Nazis did. Anyway. But their argument is that trans people existing creates moral degeneracy and perversion, like they are an affront to God. They are destroying social norms and constructs that hold Western civilization together.
Okay.
And that when you see a trans person in society, in public, and you normalize that kind of behavior, more people will become trans. Okay. Just like they made the exact same argument about homosexuality, which is no longer as fashionable or as appropriate to do so, but they're still trying to bring that back too, because it's not just about trans people. It's about like whatever they decide the norm is, and whoever is deviating from that is abhorrent. Okay. And must be eradicated.
Okay, I see the point. It is interesting. I think if you accumulate how much thought goes into trans people between Jordan Peterson, Michael Knowles, and who's that other soul?
Matt Walsh.
Yeah, Matt Walsh. I mean, these guys collectively are talking and thinking about trans people probably more than the whole world combined.
Yeah, no, they got trans on the mind all the time. Like, that's why I call it like a diagnosable mental.
There's no audio? The button's out, Dan? Oh, we're flying without protection.
Close to the sun.
I believe in you. Also, what's insane about this is that, like, you can say whatever the fuck you want about the NRA or whatever, right? And then you immediately get punished for it. Conservatives go fucking ape mode on you.
Yeah.
But for some reason, Michael Knowles can say what he's about to say. Let's watch, and then we'll talk about the subsequent lack of backlash.
100% agree. 100% agree.
Then for the good of society, and especially for the good of the poor people who have fallen prey to this confusion, transgenderism must be eradicated from public life entirely. The whole preposterous ideology at every level.
Yes, so the way I interpret that is that when you're talking about the word eradicate, first of all, invokes like Nazi final solution.
Yeah.
And he says transgenderism, which of course is the property, the intrinsic property of a person. So to me, he's just straight up calling to round up and kill trans people. I mean, that's the way I interpreted it. And I think a lot of people interpret it that way. So
I mean, because that's what he meant.
That's what he said.
He meant we must eradicate transgenderism. There is no peaceful solution to eradicate transgenderism, because let's say your goal is to eliminate trans people from public spaces, but trans people are still going to exist regardless. What do? You have to become violent at a certain point. If the state is not violent, then people take matters in their own hands, like the Q nightclub shooting that happened. Obviously, that's kind of what they want to happen regardless, while they're simultaneously utilizing the state legislatures all around the country to eradicate trans people by stopping them from transitioning, by punishing doctors, by punishing trans parents, by punishing trans children, by punishing anyone and everyone who is trans to make medical decisions, like stopping them from making medical decisions that genuinely would improve their lives. And that's it. That's their very clear stated agenda, because there's no peaceful way to like stop trans people from existing.
Right.
You can't do that for anything. You can't just be like, oh yeah, like, we got to eradicate, Jewish mentality from existence is not something you can fucking say.
Because so his defense on this, as people rightly got a little bit freaked out, and again, I remind you that this is said loudly and proudly on the national stage for conservatives to cheering. He insists that he wants to eradicate transgenderism as an ideology, not eradicate trans people. Yeah, it's like saying, I'm going to outlaw Judaism. Not Jews, just Judaism.
Yeah. No,
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
not
totally.
Really.
Come on, guys. We're just, we're not doing anything crazy. I mean, come on.
Hulk Hogan with a pussy.
But the entire point of that is that, like,
eradicate Judaism.
It plays along with like the dehumanization, right? Like, he thinks that trans people are an aberration that must be excised, that is not like a real thing. They're just like crazy people that we need to, play the song and dance with. But even if that was the case, then, you could just like leave trans people alone, which, by the way, that isn't the case, for the record, obviously. But even if that was the case, you would just like leave them alone. That's a good idea. And yet that's not enough, because these guys are bullies. That's it. They're weak people.
They're worse than bullies. I mean, this shocked me really. Like,
I mean, they're genocidal, but I'm saying like I'm using simpler terms so that like people in the margins can comprehend it too. You are not a man if you go after people who are otherwise not able to defend themselves.
Look at this
You are not a man.
motherfucker's face. This is not photoshopped.
You're a weak person. You are barely a person. You're barely a fucking human being.
Dude, his smile is straight up like there's invisible fingers forcing a joke smile on
he
him.
looks like you know what he looks like? He looks like the fucking what is it? Like the claymation stop motion Christmas the Christmas specials that they used to play, like the elf.
He's an elfish, little elfish.
Like, you know what I'm talking about? Santa's little helper?
Are you talking? You're not talking about the Grinch, are you?
No. What is the claymation stop motion like Christmas special with like elves and like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer?
Hermie?
No,
Rankin Bass.
Yeah, Rankin Bass. It's just called Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Was he the guy in that who wanted to eradicate reindeers?
No, bro. He looks like one of the elves. Like his face looks. Oh, I guess not really. When they smile, don't they smile?
I'm trying to find. I think I know what you're talking about.
Find a photo of one of these fucking elves smiling, and I promise you.
Wallace? A grimace? Yeah, I see that.
It does have that.
I can't wipe the smile off my face, Batman. It's like I was born to laugh.
He does. He has claymation smile.
Maybe a snow miser. You know, snow miser.
Can we get a snow miser? Here, snow miser perhaps? Snow miser. Snow miser.
Yeah, claymation smile is like very specific. That's what his smile looks like, a claymation smile.
Oh. Yeah, so what I felt looking at him, listening to the speech, is that this is the face of the American fascist. Like, this is happening in America.
Yeah.
They found their scapegoat. They're willing to be violent to eradicate. And this is what it is. I think their platform is becoming more and more fascist. And they've got their scapegoat now, and they're ready to be violent. And people are on the national stage cheering about eradicating transgenderism. Of course, he is a giant fucking piece of shit, coward. And he's threatening to sue people now, which cracks me up.
Yeah. CPAC speaker calls for transgender people to be eradicated, which is like literally that's what he did, right? And then he said, this is suable, this is libel, this is slander. Like, you will be hearing from my fucking lawyers. It's like, you're such a baby. Like, you're such a petulant little cowardly shit.
Here he is. Here he is on Twitter. This is his Twitter account. He says, "This headline is libelous. I demand a retraction." Hey, Michael Knowles, you want to eradicate trans people?
Yeah. There is no he's like, no, I meant transgenderism. It's like, oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah. So this is the face of American fascism right here. It's happening.
He slapped the ism on it, so it's different. It's not actually like trans people he's talking about. He's talking about transgenderists. Whatever the fuck that means. He's like, no, you don't understand. I made up a term, and I'm actually attacking the made up thing that I'm talking about.
We must eradicate.
Don't do it.
Hamburger patties.
Don't do it. Okay, don't. I know you want to do it.
We must eradicate.
Don't do it. La 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 la.
Wait, we got the button. Don't worry.
No, we don't.
Oh, we don't.
We don't have the button. I'm just kidding.
We don't have the button.
Got you guys. I love.
Oh, you're such a stinker.
He scares me. He's actually such a fucking psychotic freak. He's not
even like riding as hard as Matt Walsh is. He's just trying to do the Matt Walsh thing now because he's like not even the third best fucking guy at Daily Wire, which is the biggest L, dude. Holy shit.
Bottom tier Daily Wire guy. Do you think Matt Walsh is jealous of all the attention that all the transphobia attention?
There's a competition
right
of
now?
who. This is like.
I feel like they are.
This is like Google's versus. I don't know who's another prominent.
I'm glad that you brought up. I'm glad that you brought up a monopoly when talking about competition. What Google?
No, they're competing amongst each other for the favor.
No, he was trying to say Goebbels. It just came out as Google.
I didn't say Google. I said Goebbels.
You kind of did.
Oh, I thought you said Google. Yeah.
No, bro. It's like not.
Or it was kind of like Google. Google. It was like halfway
they're
between
like,
Google and Go.
So anyway.
Oh, mein Führer, I'm the best transphobe. Please love me the most.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's Himmler.
I want to kill all the trans people more than him. More.
I promise. I'm being so mean. I'm being such a meanie bobini.
Now, please, Benny boy, put on the strap on. Put on the cock sleeve.
Oh.
Your cock is too small to penetrate me.
Oh my God.
Anyway, Rolling Stone updated their headline after being threatened with a lawsuit. They said, CPAC speaker calls for eradication of transgenderism and somehow claims he's not calling for elimination of transgender people.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Also love that they didn't use his name in the headline. Kind of fire. And also it's under the category of evil, which apparently is a section of Rolling Stone's magazine.
Yeah.
Let me just see what's going on in evil today.
In the evil vertical, yeah.
Well, better that than fucking what Breitbart used to have, which was black crime.
Yeah, that one's pretty good.
Right.
Yeah. When Ben Shapiro worked there, by the way, fun fact, Ben Shapiro left Breitbart because he was like, I couldn't stand the anti-Semitism that was happening when the alt-right took over Breitbart. It's like, motherfucker, when you worked there was literally a tag called black crime.
That is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It's almost like they're giving away the game in the headline. They're like, here's our propaganda. We just talk about black crime.
Yeah.
Take out all the other crime that you don't want to hear about. Here's Michael Knowles saying that I'm pleased to see the Daily Beast lawyers scrambled to make them stealth edit their defamatory headline about me. Unfortunately, this tweak does not constitute a retraction of the article, which remains libelous. Michael Knowles says transgender must be eradicated. This is genocidal.
I mean, it is. It is genocidal. I never said that. And
Just
demand a
own it,
retraction.
dude. Just own your shit. Why is he being such a baby about it?
He can't because it's like not fully institutionalized yet. It's the same attitude that racist people have when you ask Nazis, they won't say that they're Nazis until they reach that final point. They'll just say like, "Oh, I'm a white identitarian," or "I'm just trying to defend white people. I'm just trying to stop white genocide from happening," because they recognize that deep down inside, being considered a bigoted person is not a good thing, and you can't reach out to as broad an audience as possible. New study that came out, an Ipsos poll actually just came out yesterday. USA Today and Ipsos conducted a poll where they looked at the word woke and what kind of, was it a positive image that it invoked or a negative one? And it turns out 59% of Americans consider woke to be positive thing, where they consider it to be where they consider it to be someone who is social justice minded, and only 36% of Americans consider it to be like a smarmy, annoying.
That is actually surprising.
Overcorrective, and that really is a great snapshot for you to just pull yourself away from the extremely online space for a brief moment and take a look at what people who use landlines think. You know what I mean?
That is interesting.
And all of a sudden you get a way different picture. Same goes for trans issues in general. I talk to trans activists all the time, including Aaron, who's a wonderful journalist who's on that article. I was a part of a charity drive alongside Juniper, also known as Transgender Marxists, where we talked to some, we talked to a trans state legislator, and numerous other trans journalists, and what everyone recognizes within the trans activism community as well is that for the most part, Americans just kind of have apathy towards trans people. The normative position for a lot of Americans is just yeah, I don't really get it, but I don't care. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's what the normies think. These people are basically honing in on transphobia as their main message, as their main movement, because they are getting reinforced from the cycle of hatred that they see from extremely online spaces. That's what they're cutting legislation off of. That, and also the psychotic, right-wing Christian lawyer network, as another trans hacktivist recently exposed. Mother Jones wrote an article about this yesterday, that there's this deep network of anti-trans movement groups, Christian lawyers, protecting the family group or whatever the fuck, groups like this that directly have a line of communication with state legislatures, and they play a role in crafting the messaging and play a role in selling transphobic bills that are getting pushed through in almost every single state, with the exception of like really blue ones, right now. Like this is very deliberate, and I liken it to the anti-abortion movement in this country. It took like around 35, 40 years for that to actually finally become criminalized again, right? But they're doing that with trans people, and it doesn't even matter if people have apathy. It doesn't even matter if people genuinely do care about protecting abortion, for example. Ultimately, these guys will use extra legal circumstances and push through their narrative, push through their nefarious agenda, their violent agenda, no matter what it takes, even if it does not appeal to the sensibilities of the broader population.
Matt Walsh, he doesn't want to be outdone, as you noted, but from Michael Knowles. So he quickly went to Twitter to win back Daddy Benny boy. And he said, "We were minding our own business when suddenly the trans movement came along and demanded that we totally abandon biology, common sense, and truth itself for its sake. Our war against this scourge is a defensive struggle. They started it. They wanted this fight. Now they have it."
Yeah, they just can't leave trans people alone for some fucking reason. Like
you started it. That's like the Jews brought this on themselves.
Yeah.
That was 100% Nazi playbook shit.
Yeah, exactly. Like establish an enemy that is both strong and weak at all times, right? And vilify them endlessly, dehumanize them endlessly, make them out to be the villains of every single thing that you feel. And in a society where people are experiencing economic instability, volatility, and resentment, and they have no good prescriptions because any kind of left-wing commentary is completely removed from most liberal spaces as well within media. And the only thing that you hear is like these guys making outside of the box prescriptions.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's fine. We can move to this. This is a perfect parallel.
So listen to this. Joseph Goebbels.
You can call him Goober. Fuck him.
He was, of course, a very famous Nazi, the head of propaganda. He said this.
Whoa. Why are you calling him a Nazi?
I think he was literally a member of the Nazi
Wait,
party.
hold on. But did he say he was a Nazi?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, I don't know. You need to give me more conclusive evidence.
Hitler.
No, he was literally member of the Nazi party.
I don't know, man. What's next? Are you going to say Kanye West is a Nazi? Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, well, that one's more debatable, but I don't think anyone.
The Nazis all the time.
Yeah.
He said this about Jews. Now, once again, let's read this tweet. He says, "We're minding our business when suddenly trans movement came along, demanded that we totally abandon biology, common sense, truth itself. Our wars with the scourge is a defensive struggle. They started it. They wanted this fight. Now they have it." Now let's go over to what Goebbels said about the Jews. He said, "The Jews wanted the war, and now they have it," referring to Nazi propaganda scheme to shift the blame for the World War onto European Jews. The Jews bore the brunt of the Nazis' first. No. Is that it? I mean, but that's
just
like
a quote.
verbatim what he said.
Yeah.
The Jews wanted the war. Now they have it. It's like, it's so preposterous to look at now. Everybody agrees that how crazy this was.
Yeah.
Yet here it is happening right now in America, 2023.
It's not the hatred that really offends me. It's the plagiarism.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like distasteful.
Yeah.
That you would just rip this guy that Ethan is calling a Nazi.
Well, he was a member. He was literally a member of the Nazi party.
Oh, wow. Once again, no diversity of ideas here.
No, he was like Hitler's best friend.
Wow. Are you saying that people with differing opinions can't be friends with one another? Got him.
No, they had the same opinion.
You don't know that.
You weren't there.
You weren't there.
Were you in the room when Hitler and Goebbels was talking strategy?
Yeah.
It's just a fact, in my opinion.
It's Goebbels' hate for the Jews is greatly exaggerated.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Matt Walsh taking a play out of the Nazi handbook almost verbatim. So that's fucking disturbing. You know what I mean?
that show, The Leftovers, which is a great show, by the way.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I appreciate that. So that's what's going on at CPAC, ladies and gentlemen, the National Platform for Conservatives.